Welcome to Clearly Tanya. My name is Tanya, and I found another Reddit post to share with you guys. It is along the same lines of what we've been talking about, which is taking on fault for things in our past that were not actually our fault because our narcissistic parents programmed us to take on all of the fault. It took me 25 years to realize that a lot of the bad interactions and experiences I had in the past were not my fault. It took me so many years, so many therapy sessions, and years of social interaction experience to realize I wasn't always the weird or less lovable, unworthy person, and to release that guilt and shame. My dad is a narcissist, my mom is an emotionally unavailable enabler. They are both also socially awkward and a bit antisocial, so they also isolated me growing up. I was bullied at school, so I started having a social life late around high school because of my role models. Just very dysfunctional family, and yeah, the dynamic of parents putting all the blame on this person and judging them 24/7. I think a lot of us can relate to this, unfortunately. I was always blaming and shaming myself for every failed social interaction. I completely relate to that. Completely. Now I look back at some experiences and I'm like, oh, what that person did was wrong or mean, and it was not my fault. Obviously, in some other experiences, I had some blame too because of my lack of experience. But damn, I feel so bad that I used to always let people walk all over me, and I still blamed myself for that. Has anyone experienced this as well? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Definitely yes. That's a big yes. Always blaming myself for social interactions, taking on this narrative that if something has gone wrong between us and another person, if there's discomfort felt, it must be our fault somehow. Of course, if something doesn't go well or somebody's a jackass, um, we're like pre-programmed to think, oh, that's because I am awkward or I didn't do something right or I'm unworthy of being treated with respect. Even where this person says, obviously, in some other experiences, I had some blame too because of my lack of experience. That is such, to me, a good example of what makes us different and why we will never be like our parents. The fact that you're willing to say, hey, I may have had a role in this too because of my lack of experience or maybe I was just awkward. Just being able to acknowledge that you maybe don't have all the answers already means that you're never going to be like your narcissistic parent. Narcissists don't have that kind of dialogue. So they would be the person in that situation being mean to someone. The other kids at school, the people who I grew up feeling sort of controlled by socially were the mean kids who were most like probably what my parent was when she was younger. And I also think it's really normal to feel frustrated with ourselves when we look back and think, why did I let all of these people walk all over me? But little did I know I was constantly giving off this message that I felt unworthy of their time and understanding. You can see where we perpetuate the cycle that we grew up with by carrying those behaviors forward with other people in our lives because we're trained to base everything off of how someone else is feeling. We are set up for failure in those social interactions so early on. Having a chance to even just work through our own feelings and thoughts to understand them isn't something we can do at that age. We don't have anybody to help us. I have a trail of interactions where I walked away feeling totally stomped on once I realized what that person's intentions were. But I do feel like I was really naive for most of my life about these people, including my own stepmom. I think I have now such a strong sense of injustice when it comes to poor treatment from people that I have a lot of anxiety about social interactions. I think I give everybody the benefit of the doubt when I first meet them. And then when I get taken advantage of, there's so much personal frustration and shame. It's like that cycle of shame that continues on where it's just like, darn it, I can't believe I fell for that. How did I not see that person for who they were? We have to let that part go because that is what makes us different from them. I'm realizing as we get older that we should not let them rob us of our good intentions in the world just because they didn't know how to treat people or respect other people, just because they were so insecure that they couldn't understand everybody has a right to be themselves. And we were subjected to so much bullshit because of their weakness in character. I don't want to lose my trust in others. I don't want to lose my faith in humanity. I think it's so empowering when we realize that those interactions were really shitty on the part of other people, because then there's this feeling of like, oh, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves, not me. I didn't act crappy. I acted with good intention. And in that way, I feel like I have integrity within myself. I don't need to make anyone else feel better about their behavior if I don't agree with it. A lot of opportunity to really start to see where these patterns came from. You are not alone. Perfect Sky 2324. Um, I'm 43. It's taken me a really long time to also understand how much I've carried that was not mine to carry. So, thank you for watching. This channel truly is about bringing together stories and experiences that might not look identical, but they have a lot of the same undertones. So we're just going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep finding mirror experiences so that we can build patterns, because red flags are patterns. We can spot red flags if we start to be able to identify those patterns. We can take a minute to laugh at the absolute self absorption of these knuckleheads running around thinking the world is their oyster, and it is not. We get to take back our own power now by building each other up, validating our experiences, understanding we are not alone. We don't owe our parents anything. We don't owe anybody anything, but we do have a right to talk about it. And that's why we're here. A lot of you can probably relate to this kind of stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the comments you guys have been leaving. Because so many of us are at different ages and different points in this journey, and we've had so many different experiences, there's still this underlying camaraderie of like, we are going to honor each other's reality. We are not going to gaslight each other. We are not going to cause harm to each other for personal entertainment. And those are really basic things to people who haven't experienced the other. For those of us who grew up not having those things guaranteed, that's a big deal. It's a big deal for us. So thank you guys for opening up and just being here with me as we go through this stuff. It's liberating to hear and share, and I hope you guys will do the same. So take care.